Grand Rising, beautiful souls. It's Divine here. It is 12:01 p.m. Friday, July 26th. I know I haven't been keeping up with anything, so I felt that it was a good time to make a video today to just catch you up on my life. My life. Oh, my life. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? I'm not even sure. So, a quick backing up, I believe. So, I know my last video was my little ditty. Working on using my voice again. It's still going through some processes. Healing is an amazing thing. Sharing the healing process with others really teaches me how to continue to heal myself. Love that so much. It's been so incredible. Love being in Miami. As you can see, I'm getting like a tan. Not really trying, it just kind of happens when you're out and about in Florida, Tampa, Miami. A few things to catch up. I was in Tampa for a ceremony of passing. It's a very interesting emotional process to go through from beginning to end, from losing someone in this physical world and then the aftermath of dealing with their body no longer being here. And then the reflection of learning how to connect with them through spirit. The individual that passed wasn't directly related to me, so my connection isn't as intense during this process. Most of the time when someone has passed, I've been connected with with others that I socialized with, where this has been a thing. I am still working at, putting it together to discuss with you. It was interesting yesterday. I was talking to one of these amazing goddesses that I met in full headdress and everything. She's going to be one of the co-creators going to Burning Man. Yes, I'm going to Burning Man this year. Things have just evolved in this it's not a fully unexplainable or unfathomable, but if you look at it from a quick view, it's kind of like, what? It's just been very interesting how I've been noticing how universe has been guiding me to this new path since kind of April, May time. I wanted to take more time off just to let my body flow and get ready for a new process, but my body was like, today we're not waiting. You can have your emotional reflection during this new process. We're not going to slow down for you anymore. Because a lot of times I just like to take in what's going on and then flow it through. Today is, I guess, my second day, so it's a slightly heavier flow day. A lot of things have been happening because my flow started shifting with this full moon. Since this was the second Capricorn full moon in the month, there's so many things that come with it for our lives and how our life evolves and changes, just like the angel number 1201, talking about letting go of old habits and allowing new things to come in, because there's so many new things just banging on my door. The way things are coming together and aligning, I would like to be a little more centered in my discussion for today's video. I felt pushed to start this video, but I'm not really sure where I'm taking it yet. There's so many thoughts going through my head. I have not done my morning meditation yet, so things are going super fast through my brain. Yeah. With all the traveling I've been doing lately, I've kind of gotten away from a little bit of meditation. And I know meditation makes my life choices a lot easier, and different reflections. And so many things have been coming at me so quickly that my time for processing has become very quick, very small. And I do appreciate it, because it's preparing me for Burning Man. As I know, once I get there, so many incredible, mind-blowing manifestations are going to come about. It's already been leading up to so many things recently. The letting go process of certain attachments. This year has been a real letting go of attachments to people. That's been a big thing for me. Now it's preparing myself to let go of material things. Since I'm going to be going to Burning Man, I'm going to take a lot of things with me to give away, because Burning Man's about sharing and giving and releasing. So today is my big car clean out day. I get to go to my storage unit in Miami and revamp everything. I'm going to go through everything in my unit and put the things I want to one side, the things I don't want or need anymore to the other side. Because what do we really need, right? Need. My friend has a really hard time with that word, just like I have a really hard time with the word try. And we were both discussing how each word, his word is need, my word is try, to not wanting in our dialogues, but him showing me the necessary components to keep the word try in my dialogue wasn't vibing with me, just like my components of keeping the word need in your vocabulary wasn't vibing with him. So it was really interesting how these individual words, right, become an emotional trigger, or just like putting a trigger on a person, which plenty do to me, because yeah, I trigger people just by existing, because I am so in my own power that, how would you say it? Other people see me intimidating or scary, or some even, claim me to be the villain in their life. All I can do is send back love and grace, and for one day, putting it into words is a difficult thing, because it's not like I want to help a person or guide the person so much, unless someone asks me. And yeah, I was just discussing that with someone this morning about how I don't like to ask for help. It's one of my biggest faults. And it is a fault. because in the past, whenever I've allowed myself to let someone take a piece of the to-do list or the daily events or anything, and then for it to not be done in my process or way of being, and then I feel let down or short something. Yeah, phrasing's not coming to me right now. My topic of discussion isn't quite where spirit wants me to take it, so I'm not getting any tingly feelings. I was interested last night talking about tingly feelings and how we create our own universe. I was talking to this gorgeous goddess last night about life and learning how to hold space for yourself and giving yourself grace through your learning processes. Because, like, my second husband, he calls me an abusive manipulator, and I'm thinking to myself, what part of me is abusive and what part of me is manipulative? Because truly, if you're feeling that from me, there's something in the mirror effect that you're not wanting to look at. I've had full love for everyone that's ever been in my life. My first husband, my second husband, my siblings, my father, my mother, my son. Oh, my son. I love him so. And I miss my first husband so much. Because I feel like there's so many things that I'm learning every day, and I would just love to be able to communicate with him about these thought process and theories and revelations, because he always had a very different way of looking at things. I find it so interesting to have a conversation with the opposite sex, because their point of view and interpretation is so different than mine. It like blows me away all the freaking time. I'm like, really got to take it in and unpack it, to really get a better perspective of the why, of where it comes from. And like when I'm really learning something new, I love to be able to share that new experience with someone that I've been closest to. And the only two I've been closest to are my husbands, and one of them is dead, and the other one blames me for his existence or the negative part of his existence. And I have a hard time with that because I feel bad for him. But it's his journey, it's his choice, it's his free will. It's always been his free will, or it's always been my free will. I allowed myself to be manipulated by him because I felt like I had this connection with him that I never felt with anyone else before, other than my first husband. And throughout my entire relationship with my second husband, I kept thinking about my first husband. Like, why didn't we do that? When we would do different things or different events, or why didn't we discuss those things? In times where I really wish that we had discussed more things. So, it's really, the biggest part of me is for me to hold those reflections, to take those notes, and just learning how to apply them more into my daily life. So when I do decide to open myself up into a new relationship, then it'll be the most fulfilling relationship I've ever had. it would be nice to be able to have discussions with past partners to come up with quicker resolutions to those situations that are always rolling around in my head. You know, because no matter how much we work on ourselves, the parts of ourselves that we haven't been able to fully integrate, that take other people to integrate with, like human emotions and relationships and how to be with a partner, like, more than anything, I would love to be with a partner. But I'm still finding myself. And in finding myself, I don't want to lose myself again in the inertia of meeting someone new. Because that happens all the time, even going to festivals. And I'll have to find myself to pull back just a little bit so I don't get too caught up in becoming attached to the concept of whatever the inertia is bringing. You know, because when we go to new events and we meet new people, like all these different thoughts will come through the head. All these new creative processes that we never utilized before come into our head when we meet new people. All these new energies, these new ways of thinking, you know, they play very important roles in our lives, more than we can ever comprehend sometimes. And really listening to people and honoring their power within themselves, you know, learning themselves. I really, really love to help talk other people up as we compliment each other and we care about each other and we show that unconditional love for each other. Sending a little cleansing healing. I don't know if you can see the smoke as much. I mean, it's decently smoky. Yeah. Do that for you one more time. And a third time. Yeah, you might not have seen the smoke as much. It's still there, but it kind of goes out quickly because these are all like the natural dried herbs. Like, this piece is more of a resonated, and I could get that lip, but then it'll be really hard to put out. I only like have what I have, and I'm not in the time element of wanting to buy more. I prefer my incense to be gifted to me. It gives it a much more, I feel that it gives a much more powerful protection. Whether it's by a person or by nature. I love being gifted my cleansers and protections and sage. It's funny because it's like so smoky to me right now. I can barely see, but in the camera I can hardly see the smoke. Kind of. There you go. Yeah, it's like all over my car like that. That's how I see it. And for some reason, when I hold it like this, you don't see it like that. I don't know. I guess because the AC's on and it's blowing it around too much. But I just wanted to sit and enjoy it. So these particular herbs I've mentioned in a video before. I got a lot of them when I went to this Ethiopian restaurant in Kentucky last month, I think, or a couple months ago. I've probably made 4 or 5, maybe even 10 videos I haven't posted this past year just because I've been so busy And I don't have my pictures or social media or anything organized in my phone. These things just keep evolving so much every day. I just finished technically it was written as a 7-day retreat, but for me, I got there on the 6th. I think I was there for 12 days. So it was like more like a 14-day retreat for me. Being in nature and just living out there. And I didn't really have internet for like 10 or 12 days, which was pretty different. Like I could take pictures and video, but I couldn't send it. Yes, I keep a spit cup in my car, or a trash cup, however you want to put it. I miss burning incense so much. So this is like frankincense, myrrh, sage. And when I was at the event and I did my workshop, a lady gifted me some cedar from Mount Shasta. So my sage from Mount Shasta, my cedars from Mount Shasta, my frankincense and myrrh is from an Ethiopian restaurant in Kentucky. And of course I have some rosemary and basil in here from my travels and things. I meant to harvest some juniper berries when I was in North Carolina last, and I forgot to get so caught up. That, and my dish is like overabundantly full that it keeps falling over my dash. So I'm wanting to wait until I burn that down to get more. I've bought sage and things in the past. I'm think I'm going to put a drop of my dragon's blood on there. I did take my daily morning dragon's blood tincture. It's been doing really well for me. As I said, I'm in my flow right now, so everything's a little bit slower, but I have noticed an energy shift since I've been taking my dragon's blood every day. As I work with micro drops most of the time, but one day I actually opened it and went like that to my tongue, and I got a whole freaking shot, not just a couple drops. That was an intense morning. I think it was 2 days ago. And I'm like really getting into the taste of the dragon's blood now, because I think this is like my 4th or 5th day taking it. Oh yeah, I was gonna put some on my incense. I want to see what it does when it burns and what it smells like, the pure dragon's blood, you know? So I haven't done that yet. Let's see if I can get the drop out. Yeah. I'm nervous because I don't want it to do a whole shot, you know? And if I just try to do it on my finger, it's just not gonna... Oh my god, that was such a big drop. I pulled it back. Come on. That's good. There we go. That's a pretty drop. I don't know if you can see it. It's like right there. It's not like fully soaking in. It's just kind of chilling, which is crazy in itself. Let me clean off that drop, because I noticed I can't get to that part. I'm like, I don't want to store there. You can't get that drop. This stuff is so valuable. So valuable. I'm so blessed to have this. I'm so grateful. And Dragon's Nest. Look them up. They're not usually on social media, so I'm not sure how for you to find them except for a direct phone number. But, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but it was bubbling on the resin a little bit when I was doing it. it slightly changed the smell of the myrrh, of frankincense. I'm not sure which resin's which, but I know she was like, that's the natural plant. It's not just the resin. When I was in Kentucky, they were saying that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It brought much more of an earthiness to it. The first time I heard about dragon's blood, because I had bought sage that was dipped in dragon's blood. I was like, oh, what is this? So if you're like, well, what are the components of dragon's blood? So it's very good for inflammation and things, for cleansing purposes, internally, externally, through smudging, through eating it. It helps the body cleanse, purify itself, internally and externally. You can do more research if you want to understand the history of it, and who's been using it for so long and all that. If I had my office set up, I could easily go back to my notes and tell you. But living in my car, my notes, sometimes they get wet. Yeah. So I haven't had an office since last August, and it's slowed my production down a lot for social media. Probably almost non-existent. That's why you almost never see me making YouTube videos anymore. My goal is to get everything straightened out this trip. So when I go to Burning Man, I do a full cleansing and I let go of so many things. So my friend was like, why do you have all this stuff? And I was like, well, half of it's product that I took to the last event and I didn't sell any of it. I wasn't really keen on bringing in my product, but I was encouraged to do so. The universe wasn't really guiding me to take my product as much as it was just to go to the event. And that's more of what I'm learning to work with, is it's time to let go of more product and just work on my services. I've known this for a while. It's just, I love making things and creating things that it's hard for me to stop. And I know I'm not supposed to stop making things or stop creating things. I'm just working towards a different avenue to create something more profound, different than what I've created before. Because, yeah, it just seems like there's too many copycats out there of the things that I've been doing. So it's time to switch it up a little bit, to branch out some concepts that have been in the forefront of my heart for a while, and the courage to go out and do these things. It's a process, and I've been allowing myself a lot of grace. And through this particular flow, I do feel that by the beginning of August, I'll be making leaps and bounds from my slow, graceful tippy toe, as you could say. I'm still allowing myself a bit of time to heal. It's been brought to my attention that some people feel that I've done enough healing. And I need to get my experience out there. I've been very slow and hesitant because I don't personally feel like I'm ready to really launch myself to the world but the world's calling out to me and wanting me to launch myself out there. And it's a lot to make that commitment and do that daily task. I've tiptoed around it for many, many years. I've always fallen back onto my relationships and said, oh, well, I need to step back for this person, or oh, I need to step back for this person. But now those people aren't in my direct life anymore. So my plate has been almost cleared off to where I'm the only one on it. And that's pretty amazing, because most of my life, my plate was so full, I could never even step foot on my own plate. Does that make sense to you? Have any of you ever felt that way? That you give so much of yourself to others that you leave nothing for yourself? And in April, with the last event I did, I realized that I was doing it all over again. I was just, giving myself to help someone else and not myself. And when I wanted to step back just a little bit, oh, did they get livid? And then start with words that were like, oh, I never knew you thought that way about me. Okay. Then I guess that it's time for me to listen to universe more. Universe says that you should not be in my life, that this person should not be in my life, that person shouldn't be in my life, because our space can only hold so much. And if we're focused on the same 5 or 7 people for an extended amount of time, then there's no new people to meet, and it kind of gets stagnant. It's a hard thing to coming to conclusion with, because I really thought that there was more to our connections, and maybe later on in life there will be, but right now universe wants me to experience life for myself and not for those 5 to 7 people that I carried around with me for decades. Always trying to live up to someone else's standards, and there's that word try, and I say it's an incomplete word, because when we try to do things, they kind of just follow through. We either do it or we don't. And yeah, because to me, the word try is like that word that someone uses to make you feel better. Like when you ask someone for help and you really want them to help you, and they're like, oh, I'll try to see if I can fit it in my schedule for today, or I'll try to get there on time, which means they really don't feel an importance to it. And that's okay. Their life is not our life. And sometimes we just have to redirect ourselves, because if someone's not willing to help, then we just have to be like, okay, let me ask somebody else. They'll be more in line with what I'm doing. Because a lot of times when people don't want to help you, it's because they feel incapable of helping you through a certain process. They don't value themselves enough to believe that they can actually do what you're asking. And that's really sad to me, because the things I generally ask from others are usually very simple tasks in my mind's eye. Anyway, and that's another thing to learn and understand, is something that you might think is simple could be the hardest thing for the person right in front of you. You never know. Because because we work with 3 parts of ourselves. We work with our body, we work with our mind, we work with our spirit. And then we utilize different things to keep those functionings, like our senses and the elements, And unfortunately, our senses have been manipulated many times by society, or by patriarchy, or by anyone or anything that becomes hungry for power or control, because they have a desire to want so much. And a lot of times when we desire to want, and then our want, we feel like, oh, we need this, or if we don't get this, we're going to break. But you're not. You're not going to break. You might fall down really hard, you might get some bruises, but they'll heal. Bruises heal. It's just what they do. They have a process. And our emotions have a process in healing. And it's finding those steps to help them heal. It's like, you get a bruise, you do rice. You rest, you ice, you rest, you ice, you compress, and you elevate. That's what you do when you get a bruise, And there's these simple steps to help ourselves heal. And a lot of it has to do with breathing and meditation. Interesting discussions I was having with people lately about anxiety and boundaries. Oh, because I was talking with the beautiful goddess last night about boundaries. And, it's like we set boundaries because our anxiety levels get so high that we feel that we can't cope unless we set a boundary. But the issue is if we leave that boundary unattended for too long, that boundary becomes a wall. And then we're using it as a wall of protection instead of a healing process and a learning process. Because no boundary is meant to stay there for all existence. They're only put there so we can look at the anxiety and reflect on it and figure out where the trigger is and where it comes from, so we can learn how to just deal with the situation to release that boundary so it doesn't turn into a wall. We can do our daily protections without letting that boundary wall take us over. Because after a while, if you leave your boundaries unattended, they become walls. And those walls interconnect. And after a while, you're living inside of a box. You built another cage around yourself because you placed so many boundaries on how much you're going to let someone come in that you pushed everybody away. You pushed them all away. So now they're too scared to help you. Because when you push someone away, you're feeding your fear. And fear will eat you alive. Fear is what stops us from growing and understanding and understanding life. Fear is what stops us from experiencing what we're here to do. Be, feel, etc. Experiences, good, bad, indifferent. No matter how beautiful or how ugly it is, it's an experience. And that is what we're here for, is to experience. Experience those failures. Be grateful for those achievements. Everything's a win. Because when you, in the end, from a bad experience, you learned a larger lesson than you did from just dancing, It's like dancing is a healing process. It's what gives us rejuvenation, brings our power back to us. It grounds us because it brings us back to the earth. It's a way of putting our feet to the ground. And that's instant grounding. It's like walking. The more you walk, the calmer you become. You can't change that. That is a scientifically proven fact. Because you're constantly touching the ground and you have this momentum. And it keeps moving you. And when you're walking and you're hitting the ground and you're connecting to the earth, and every time you take a step up, you're breathing. And when you're breathing, you're collecting air and water at the same time. So your body is retaining something new as it's breathing out old stuff. It's breathing in new breath and new energy. It's like when we sweat, when we walk, we're releasing old toxins from our bodies so it can feel refreshed and rejuvenated. So when we hold on to our boundaries so tight that no one can get through that wall, what are we doing? We're stopping ourselves from cleansing. It's like we're putting ourselves in a cold room so we can't sweat ever. And your body needs to sweat to grow, to cleanse those your skin, those pores in your body. There's a reason why they're breathable and their pores is so energy can move back and forth through it. But if we put all these heavy creams on our skin and things, and then it can't breathe. If your skin can't breathe, it can't cleanse itself. So then our body starts holding on to all that stuff that we wanted to let go, and it feels like a toxic lump inside, and that dis-ease turns into disease because we're not releasing, we're not sweating, we're not cleansing, we're not breaking our own boundaries to learn how to release the anxiety. See, the boundaries are only there for us to recognize, understand, and understand where the anxiety comes from so we can let it go. Because if boundaries were always supposed to be there, we would all be carrying cages around us and being in those bubbles on a constant basis so people can't touch you. You would have to be able to open the door to let them in. But that's not how we walk around as humans. We have our we have our energies that are around us. I mean, they're like, they expand 6 to 8 feet around us, our kinetic energies. So in essence, we do have an untangible bubble around us. But people are always coming through. And it's, do we collect their particles, when their fractals touch us? Or do we just let them flow? So only the fractal flows through us and we don't get connected to any of their particles. Because remember, where your attention goes, your power goes. So if you let all of your fractals to yourself go to everybody else, you leave nothing for yourself. And when people use those fractals of yourself, they're going to make them very dirty because they're using it to cleanse themselves, to clean themselves, because they're using it as a tool where you're not and they are. So when you want to use your own fractals for yourself, cleanse the collected particles that have been floating around and attached themselves to your fractals because they're learning how to cleanse. But you don't need to cleanse particles. You only need to cleanse your fractals so you can become whole again. It's the difference between fractals and particles. And your particles could be somebody else's fractals. You don't know. Particles can just be straight up particles. Never-ending particles that never find their fractals. So they're just looking to attach to something. And when you find those particles, and those particles have been connected for so long to become entities, and then those entities, they've created something within themselves because they made this energy field. They've created an energy field. So then when you want that particular energy field that's been created from those particles that were never yours, and you want to release them, ask your higher self, ask your guides, ask your angels, ask, your higher power, source, God, light, love and creation, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you want to say Jesus Christ, that's up to you. We all are a part of Jesus Christ, if that's Christ consciousness. It lives in our pineal gland. There's all these different interpretations of how these things work, like the Merkaba and all these things. But I'm not trying to digress. Biggest thing is, call your power back to you. And when you call your fractals back, have them release the particles they collected along the way. The particles that attach themselves to your fractals. And you can help those particles ascend so they can go back into the collective and become their own entity and learn how to become a better soul and learn how to become a soul, because they've been creating one, because we're all creators. Every particle, every fractal, every entity, it's all part of creation. And that's one of the things that's so hard for some people to comprehend. Sorry, I had to put the air up a little bit. The sun's like really coming in right now. I don't usually use that word, but I know I changed the volume content a little bit. But I really don't want to take this video much longer because it's already been 47 minutes. But the bottom line is, call your power back to yourself, and when you do, cleanse those particles off your fractals and ask the universe for help. They're happy to help. We are. We love you. And we are proud of you. You came here to listen to this video today for clarity and understanding. Remember, I love you. We love you. You love you. I'll take care of me. You take care of you. And we'll be good. You have an amazing grand rising, you beautiful souls. It's gorgeous outside. Go get some energy. It's waiting for you. It wants to be there with you. Embrace it. Be so bright that your light shines like the sun. Because that's what you are. You are a fractal of the sun. Remember that. You're the brightest light that ever is, that ever was, and always will be. We are always connected. I love you. We love you.